good, but they're rock hard.
So what are you having?
I don't know yet. No idea. It says, ring Keith with the parts. The stores manager.
Welcome, or welcome back, as the case may be. Now, I do hope that you're enjoying this stunning scenery and the autumnal colours now proliferating across the Yorkshire Dales. This part of the world can be beautiful at any time of year, and each change of season marks with colours the relentless passage of time and nature's wondrous cycle of birth, decay and rebirth. I've always described the Dales landscape as evanescent, constantly undergoing change and renewal, and thereby giving to all living things a cradle, a home and a grave. It's in moments of quiet reflection in these special places that I take comfort in the certain knowledge that no part of any of us is constituted with anything other than those very elements which make up the land, rivers, lakes and skies. We are of the earth, and we will surely one day return. Of course, I speak here of tangible, describable, measurable things, compounds, molecules, atoms, protons and neutrons, and further and deeper down the mysterious world of the quantum. All of those things which nature assembles together to create the world in which we live. Nature is the finest of artists, sculptors and composers, and I cannot help but think that all of a life lived is operatic, symphonic, cinematic. The greatest show on earth is Earth. Yet, in order to perceive all of this, we must have consciousness, which sort of begs the question, what is consciousness? We are far from the only conscious species on this planet, though some would have us believe that we are the only species which is self-aware. I don't subscribe to this view myself. I believe that as a species we have become arrogant, selfish and conceited when it comes to the totality of Gaia, Mother Earth. If we are indeed the only self-aware species, then we have surely squandered that quality. Emboldened as we are by our technological achievements down the years, we have collectively become sold on a self-congratulatory narrative, and in so doing have become blind to so much which should be obvious if we would only climb out of our silos and look. Modern life is full of so many seemingly unanswerable questions, so many conundrums and quandaries which, to my mind, only exist as such because of our own inability to see. We live today in a narrow, self-imposed framework, which often cares for little beyond monetary wealth, material acquisition, and the pursuit of power and influence. For me, the answer to many of these questions can be found here in the wild places, where, if we choose to, we can enter into communion with the landscape and find perspective. In life, there is conflict and grief in the urban grind, but there is peace and wisdom in the wild. Of moody peaks and valleys that wind, of crag and cove that vistas mind, o'er limestone walls and snaking rivers, where the curlew calls, and this land delivers a gift of wonders to soothe the soul, and briefly silence the bells that toll for the murderous follies of mankind. Like so many people today, I have occasional moments of self-doubt, an uncertainty that I'm on the right path, or have for too long trodden the wrong one. Such thoughts are, I'm sure, rooted in a world of grotesquely distorted values. A world where condemnation and derision is encouraged, where combative, feral behaviour is celebrated through an entertainment media soaked through with the mind-numbing, moronic behaviour grandstanded through so-called reality TV. A place where audiences flock to see their fellow humans swimming in a cesspit of hubris and mutual contempt. We have become Dante's Inferno writ rail. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. I'm as sure as I can be that it has not always been so. Not even in my lifetime. I remember growing up as a child in the 60s and 70s, enjoying the collective support, care and compassion of an extended family, which was comprised not only of blood and marriage relatives, but of a network of friends and associates woven into the fabric of our community of small terraced houses in a dusty corner of inner city Yorkshire. Within this community there was a notable absence of cars, colour TVs, holidays abroad, home improvements, or any other indicators of what might then have been considered an indication of virtue and success. Yet there was an abundance of support across families and a collective understanding of what was acceptable and what was not. I do not recall anybody of any age being racked with self-doubt or low self-worth. Such notions would have been considered selfish and indulgent and unworthy of attention. There was back then a prevailing sense of decency and a sense of the need for harmony and compromise. And on the rare occasions when these principles were parted company with, they invariably found expression through nothing more than the odd verbal altercation over a garden wall or fence. Often about whose cat was pooping in whose flower bed or whose kid's football had flattened the potted plants. Such things never developed into running feuds and would likely be laughed over by all concerned at the next social gathering. These were the days when the gas and electricity supply was maintained through the timely insertion of 2-bob bits into cobwebbed meters lurking in the dark, dank depths of cellars, when the nightly entertainment was confined to one of two TV channels, and when fast food was confined to several days of meals concocted from the leftovers of the Sunday roast. Let's face it, these were happier times. They were better times too. Better because we had our priorities right. We were grounded. We worked hard for everything but expected nothing. Anyone seeking general adoration on the back of his endeavours was on a hiding to nothing. Successful people were recognised for their achievements, but were never exalted, celebrated or revered. There was no obscene polarisation of wealth, and the heads of big companies, while certainly living more comfortable lives than their employees, have not become greedy, power-hungry plutocrats, sapping public resources to further swell their already swollen pockets. There was a whole lot more goodness and reason around, and the world was a better place for it. It saddens me now to realise that those halcyon days, for that is how I see them, are, it seems, forever gone. It seems to me, looking back, that the rot set in at some point in the early 80s, and that we've never really recovered our perspective on what it means to lead a good life. What it means to have the good grace and decency to understand when you have enough to be happy and fulfilled, and to appreciate that not everybody in the world enjoys such a privilege. Above all, what it means to be able to think for oneself and not to succumb to malign propaganda from all around. But one thing remains: those rolling hills, winding valleys, snaking rivers and expansive skies are the same as they were back then. They have not been stained and sullied by the ravages of human privations. They speak the truth in a world full of lies, and they are the only place where I can ever truly believe.